Welcome back everyone to today's Love Transformation class. One of my favorite topics is manifesting and law of attraction. And for a long time now, and especially since we were all introduced to The Secret, we know that it's possible to manifest a dream partner using the law of attraction and some other highly specific yet incredibly simple techniques. And today's expert is a brilliant source of wisdom on all things manifesting. Welcome today, Shelly.
Thank you for having me. I love being here with you.
It's always one of my very favorite conversations to have. And after someone's had some experience with, I guess, the simple principle of The Secret, or maybe watch some Abraham Hicks on YouTube, tell us sort of more about what manifesting encompasses. I think we kind of all know what it means, but...
Right. Yeah. So my style of law of attraction isn't actually law of attraction. It's more of the lineage, I might say, of Neville Goddard. He taught manifesting, and his style of manifesting is a little bit different than classic law of attraction, which is you think the thoughts to attract that thing to you. The style of manifesting that I teach is you become the person internally who thinks and feels like you have what you desire already, and it is projected out onto your 3D reality. So it looks like it gets attracted into you, but it's not as much about vibration and being a vibrational match. It's more about stepping into being the person who already has your desire. And I teach people how to do that in a lot of different ways, but that's, and it's nuanced. I mean, you may or may not be able to tell the difference, but there is a little bit of a difference. It's just less about attracting something with your vibration, and it's more about who would I be right now? What would I be thinking? What would I be feeling if I was in my dream relationship? If I was married to my soulmate? If I had my desire?
Yeah. Amazing. We're going to actually dive into some of the specific techniques around doing that, but I have a ton of questions first before we get there, right? Now, one of the first questions I have is, we're all here because for the most part, we're deeply desiring this really beautiful, intimate soulmate relationship. But in some way, that deep desire is also the very thing that's kind of preventing it from coming in, is keeping us in resistance, right?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. A desire can feel two different ways. A desire that is going to manifest your reality is going to feel juicy, enlivening, fulfilling when you think about it. It feels like, yes, this is it. Yes, this is it. This is in it. And it will also feel like it's here. If you're really conjuring up, let's say, being with a partner internally, you're in your imagination, you're thinking of him or her, they're wrapping their arms around you, they're saying all these beautiful things to you. In that moment, the desire feels fulfilled. And that feels really good. That's what's going to manifest your reality, the reality you want. Now, if the desire feels like it's not here, where is it? When's it going to be here? If there's like this undercurrent of lack, of it's not here, then that is just going to manifest the same exact reflection, more lack, it's not here. So it's the way we feel about the desire. Does it feel like it's ours already? There's a sense of fulfillment when we're using our imagination to feel our desire from that stance, or does it feel like it's not here? This is what we need to be tracking inside of ourselves. And if we are able to continuously move ourselves into the position of, oh yes, this is what it feels like when it's here. This is who I am when it's here. This is what it feels like to be in this incredible relationship. Just using your inner world, that's going to manifest it.
And we don't have to have had that incredible relationship to be able to feel what that feels like, do we?
No. I mean, anyone who wants a relationship wants it for a particular reason that they imagine it's going to feel like, right? We wouldn't want something unless we had some sort of sense of what it was going to bring into our lives. So If you feel like you've never had that relationship before, yes, it's a good idea to every day, you know, you'll see me, I close my eyes and I go within and start to like explore, well, if I had a partner who really loved me, what would that be like? And you literally just start to play out the scene as if it were happening in your imagination. Oh, it'd feel like they're telling me that I'm incredibly beautiful and I'm so important to them. And I feel so seen and cherished. You start playing with it and it becomes more familiar. And as it becomes more familiar, then again, yeah, it's becoming a dominant inner experience, which is going to create the outer experience.
And so if we are sometimes feeling good, sometimes feeling connected into what that might feel like, but a lot of the time just feeling like, God, I wish it would hurry up already, or it just feels like my life is not really complete and we're not in the energy of what we want enough, what are some of the, let's dive into some of the techniques. What are some things that we can do to move into that energy a bit more often?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is like what's happening for people, and it just kind of cancels the manifestation out because it's our dominant not our dominant understanding, it's our dominant beliefs and thoughts and the way we feel. That is what is creating the matching outer reality. And so if you're sometimes able to get into the imaginal experience of being with your partner, but then you notice that during your day you're thinking thoughts of like, I feel so single, why aren't they here yet, when are they going to be here, there's no one, no good people. This is where we have to like put the work in and essentially just like cut those thoughts. And my students have told me, I do a lot of hand movements. You'll see me like moving my hands the whole time. But my students have told me that like literally doing the movement, like with the hands, like cut the thought and redirect yourself. You are constantly, as much as you possibly can, you do not have to do it perfectly, but as much as you possibly can, you're redirecting yourself to feel like the person who has your desire. There's no other way to do it but to just do it. That means not indulging the thoughts that are telling you you're not in the relationship, catching yourself in those thoughts, cutting them, and immediately redirecting yourself into, no, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. My desire is going to happen. I'm going to be in this relationship. I'm choosing this new reality. You just have to be kind of cutthroat about it and just go for it. But it's like and you do it because you know if you just ruminate over here and it's not here, you're just going to create more of the same. There's just no way around it. And so you just do the work. And eventually, when you've really implanted enough thoughts that say it's going to happen, that just becomes your dominant belief system. It really does. And then you don't have to do so much work anymore to cut these types of thoughts.
I love the version of, I guess, the principles of manifesting that you teach, because they do seem so much more like in the body, actually being the version that you want, rather than all in the head, which a lot of manifesting and even Abraham Hicks, I feel like it's a lot it's a real thinking woman's thing, but it means we spend a lot of time up here and not enough time here, right? What are some of the techniques or practices that you feel really help us to actually embody this experience that we want?
Yeah, I mean, embodied manifesting is really my style. I'm like such an embodied person and I'm not so thought oriented. So, I mean, the way to become embodied is ask yourself how that experience would feel. And you may not know right away, but at the same time, we're talking about manifesting a relationship. The only reason we want to be in a relationship is because it's going to feel good. It's just true. Like so how do we want to feel in a relationship? Well, I know how I want to feel. I want to feel cherished. I want to feel seen as the goddess. I want to feel my man's presence just fully on me and he's just wowed by me. I want to feel beautiful. I want to feel like I'm shining. I want to feel special. And again, maybe those feelings or feeling that way isn't that easy for some people, but it's all about practice. So you just want to ask yourself, if I had my desire right now, this is honestly one of the most important questions you can ask yourself for manifesting. If I had my desire, how would I feel? Because what you're doing with this style of manifesting that I'm teaching is you want to feel like the person who has your desire already. You want to feel like the version of you who's in the relationship. Now, you're not going to feel that way 100% of the time. It's fine. Maybe you'll just feel that way when you're doing your imaginal acts. You're closing your eyes, you're spending a half an hour to go within and imagine this amazing relationship. But if you're just doing it in those times of, doing the practices, and then the rest of the time you're telling yourself it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, that's plenty to make it happen. You just have to, in a dominant way, really start to anticipate, believe, assume that this is going to happen. And when you're in that space, you're like, this is happening. My person's coming in. I know this is happening. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've heard friends and clients say once they've met their soulmate, like, I just kind of felt it. Like, I already knew there was just something, I just knew he was close or on the way. And so it's like we're reverse engineering that, aren't we?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I personally know, like, because I've practiced manifesting so much, I know how this works. I know the more I amplify the feeling of being like a goddess who is chosen and claimed and loved, and I'm a wife, and I'm however deeply you want to go in, like, really milk it, go into it, go full on. If you really start activating, it's like activating a particular frequency inside of you. If you're activating that, like, you're going to get a mirrored reflection, and it's going to be amazing.
For anyone that's like still a little bit, skeptical about manifestation, right? Or just has some reservations about, okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but in practice, I don't know. Like, let's just, before we go on a little bit, let's go a little bit deeper into sort of like the actual principles of manifesting and why this is something that we actually know works.
Yeah, I mean, for people who are skeptical, what I would say is manifest small random things. And what I mean by that is, like, be like, okay, unicorn, and just start like activating maybe a slight visual thought of a unicorn inside of you. Okay, got it, unicorn. Okay, how about green frog, okay, activate that. Red balloon, different images. Or you could say free coffee. Oh, I'm getting my free coffee, like someone's giving me a free coffee. Activate small images, experiences that don't have a lot of, they're just kind of random. Or even someone saying, oh my God, your green eyes are so beautiful. It doesn't matter, but like, activate in your imagination people saying things to you, people giving you things, you seeing things, and then pay attention. And what you'll see is, when you start activating these thoughts and these visuals inside of you, you're going to start to see these things projected outside of you. And when we do little manifestations like this, we start to recognize, oh, this is actually happening. Like, when I think of something inside of me, I then see it out there. Like, that's real. And that will start to boost your confidence in manifesting that the inner is creating the outer.
Yeah, fabulous. So sort of collect some evidence with some small things, and then you'll actually become aware how powerful this is. One of the things that I find really interesting that I've heard you talk about before is that there's actually a difference between manifesting from the heart and manifesting from the ego.
Yeah, exactly. So manifesting from the heart is manifesting from a sense of wholeness and already feeling complete. So, and it doesn't mean not wanting something, but it more means that you know that you're okay no matter what. You feel full already. You feel complete. You feel whole. Yes, you may want a partnership, but there's not that like grasping, lacking feeling that something is really wrong with your life because this thing outside of you is not here. Manifesting from the ego typically backfires because it's manifesting from your inner sense of lack. So the ego is the aspect of us that's like, I'm not whole, something's wrong, something's missing. Until I get a relationship, I'm not going to feel good. I'm not going to be complete. And the unfortunate part of manifesting from that state, which is an egoic state, the egoic state is I'm not complete, I'm not whole, is yeah, you could probably manifest a relationship, but unfortunately, it's likely to bring those same feelings back up for you. I'm not complete, I'm not whole, this doesn't feel good. And it's because your dominant inner state of being is the thing that's creating the outer reality. So the more complete we feel, regardless of what's in our 3D reality, the more the 3D reality is going to satisfy you. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. There seems to be a bit of mixed opinion in the manifesting community about whether it's actually possible to manifest a specific person or not. What are your thoughts?
Oh, yes, you can manifest it. You can manifest anything. I mean, I believe we are the sole creators of our personal reality. And so what my belief systems say about how even a particular person feels about me becomes the truth. The reality, the outer reality has to mold. So basically, if I think a specific person is in love with me, and I really believe that a specific person is in love with me, really deeply believe that. Now it gets complex because we're talking about relationship, but if I really deeply believe that, the 3D reality it can't be separated from my belief system of that. So it's going to show me that. That's essential. So essentially what I'm saying is, yes, you can manifest a specific person.
Right. And are there any specific techniques that we can adopt if there is someone that we have in mind that we want to manifest?
Well, the tricky thing with manifesting a specific person is often there's more attachment, which means there's more lack. And also, if we have an already ingrained belief system that what is happening is that person doesn't want us, so there's already a storyline. And this is what makes manifesting a specific person tricky, because if you have a storyline of they don't want me, and that's a dominant storyline about that person, then that's the thing that's going to continue to manifest. So the storyline, you have to come into a centered place of knowing and believing either they do want me or I am wanted, and I'm okay whether that person wants me or not. That's a very good way for them to start to come around. Essentially, you have to let go of the storyline that they don't want me, because you have to be running the dominant storyline of what you want to have happen. So I can't remember what your question was. Oh, but the techniques. So essentially, you are ingraining in yourself that manifesting is always the same. You become the person who has your desire. So who are you if this person likes you? Who are you if they are coming towards you? Who are you if they're pursuing you? Who are you if they love you? Who are you? Who is that version of you? It's not the same version as the person who thinks they don't like you. You've got to move yourself into being the version who already has your desire.
I'm just really, really letting that really sink in, because it's incredibly simple in a lot of ways, but really, really, really powerful. And is there anything outside of us? Like, I know some people are manifesting, say, set your house up so that, you have space for him, in the bedside table, and make a table setting for 2 people and act as if he already comes. Do you have any external practices or suggestions like that? Or do you believe that the most powerful work is always the internal shift that we create with these new thoughts?
Yeah, the only reason to do anything external is if it makes you feel like he's already here. So any technique, that you're doing, any manifesting technique, it has one purpose: to make you feel like you already have your desire. You might do affirmations. I'm in the greatest love of my life. You're only doing those affirmations to feel like the person who has your desire. You may do imaginal acts. You imagine your person coming towards you. You're doing that imaginal act to feel like the person who has your desire. So if you feel better setting a place at the table, if it makes you feel like you have your desire more, do it. But yeah, it's going to be very different. For some people, that's going to make them feel like they don't have their desire. For some people, it'll make them feel like they do. So you have to really track yourself. And again, that most important question: does this make me feel like I have my desire? Anything you're doing has that one goal. That's the only goal of manifesting, to feel like you have your desire. So you have to ask yourself, what makes you feel like that person?
I would love, I guess, a little bit more clarity, even for anyone who's listening who has an attachment to someone and deeply wants to manifest them into a soulmate relationship and is doing their very best to try not to come from a place of lack or be overly attached or feel like they're not choosing me.
Mm-hmm.
At what point are there any telltale signs, or at what point do we essentially maybe give up on wanting to manifest that person? Because how do we navigate that? Because I've seen so many people that, develop this big belief about we're twin flames and all of their energy and time and focus is on this one person, and they're doing their best to keep it in a good vibration. But is there a point where it becomes unhealthy to stay focusing on one person, and how do we know?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I wouldn't say that the answer is like answering specifically what you're saying. I'd say the answer for this to go as well as it can possibly go is stop focusing on them and start focusing on you. And so again, when we have someone who we have like put in this position of the person we want, they are our twin flame, it can be a lot of energy that can feel chasing towards them. It can feel like the lack. We are saturated in the lack. They are over here. I am over here. It's a lot of separation energy. And that's why it's continuing to manifest the experience of that person not being in our lives. So anyone I'm teaching how to manifest a specific person, I teach a lot of people how to do it. This primary step is self-love. The primary step is like 80% of your manifesting practices should be, who am I as a cherished partner? Who am I as someone who is loved? Who am I? And this is where we can get, anyone who's manifesting a specific person or has this type of experience, you can just be so focused on them. You're not paying attention at all to who you are being. And so if you bring 80% of that energy back into you, who am I if I'm totally loved and cherished? It can be by them or by in general, but you have to become the person. You have to become the person. You're not manipulating them. You're changing you. And so bring the attention back to yourself, go deep into self-love, train yourself to think and feel and believe that you are loved, cherished, and adored. Sometimes bring your imaginal acts back to them and they're coming towards you, they're coming towards you, they're coming towards you. You can integrate that into the practices, but bring it back to you and everything will shift from there.
What do you see as some of the common blocks that people have with manifesting and being able to actually do this?
Well, I think it's like a continuation of what I was just speaking about, where people think that they're manifesting, but they're just thinking about this thing that's not in their reality all the time. So they're feeling like it's not in their reality, which is continuing to manifest. It's not in my reality. So again, the more people can bring it back to who would I be and really contemplate there, who would I be if I already had it? How would I feel if I already had it? It's a different orientation. It's like turning your focus around back into yourself. When people do that, like when people do self-love and when people build themselves up, the manifestations start pouring in. So that's the main thing. Bring the attention back to yourself. Ask yourself, who would I be if I had my desire?
You know, some of us, and particularly if we've had a difficult upbringing, don't have a lot of self-belief, right? Don't have a lot of, I guess, feeling of self-worth or feeling that they're enough for a partner. Is there any particular work in terms of elevating that or supporting that you think helps? Because that can obviously be a block to manifesting when we just, you know, inherently don't feel like we're worthy or there's something wrong with us.
Yeah, in full honesty, I think most people on the planet have to do a self-love journey, a big one. So number one, sometimes people can think they're the only ones, or they're like, I've spent years on self-love, years, and I'm great at it now because I've put in the work, I've put in the work to really start to believe that I'm amazing. So it's a lifelong journey to know that you are worthy. Don't think that you're the only one on that journey. Basically, every human on the planet is on that journey if they choose to be, could use that. So that's one thing, just to remember that we're not alone. We're not the only one. And it's about just being the loving, kind, compassionate person to yourself. Like, I am worthy. We just have to tell ourselves. It's really simple. It's just more about like repeating and actually starting to try to believe it. Like, I'm worthy of love because I'm a good person. I'm special too. I deserve love because we all deserve love. Just starting to like simply tell yourself that you are worthy. I mean, I teach things like inner child work and, which is a branch of self-love, but it's essentially just going back to the basic building blocks of, we have to retrain ourselves to feel that we're worthy. The only way we're going to do that is by telling ourselves that we are and really starting to try to believe that. One way you can believe that is recognizing we are all worthy. Like, who is not worthy of love on this planet? Is there anyone? No, that we are all inherently worthy. And so we have to start remembering that for ourselves.
Yeah, I love that. And I had a conversation with a girlfriend once who was really struggling with that. And I said, so is your brother worthy? Is your, this friend worthy? Is that worthy? And they're like, yes, 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 yes. And it's like, so why would you be that one person out of however many billion we have in the world right now that's not worthy? And yet we all kind of tend to think we're that one person that's different from everybody else, right?
Yeah. And I like starting when people have that question, I like starting, start telling yourself things that you really believe, not just I'm worthy. It can feel kind of flat, but it's like, I'm worthy because I'm a good person. I'm worthy because I have a kind heart. I'm worthy because I deserve love like everyone else on this planet deserves love. Those are believable statements, right? And kind of anyone, I hope, could believe that. It's like recognizing, wait, I'm worthy just because I'm a human being and we all are. And that can help it sink in a little more.
What else can we do in order to guarantee that our manifestations will come?
The best way to guarantee your manifestation is going to come is to know within that it's yours. If you know that it is yours, and the practice is called It Is Done, feeling it is already a done deal. This relationship is mine. Now, the way we get to that feeling of it is done is by going within the imaginal space and literally conjuring up what it feels like to be in the relationship. I put my arms around myself, but it's like, you want to go into an imaginal space where you really are feeling loved up by a partner. You don't have to do it perfectly, just practice it as much as you can. Feel yourself being loved, hear them saying wonderful things to you, revisit that space over and over and over again. The more you revisit it, the more you're going to feel like this is going to happen. This is going to happen. And that's the it is done space. And when you know that it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
I want to just change gears just for a little bit and
Sure.
talk about manifesting in general. This term sort of like advanced manifesting has been thrown around a little bit, and we're learning, I guess, these new understandings about manifesting. Is this idea of manifesting evolving, or is this actually ancient wisdom? I just wanted to understand a little bit more about manifestation and law of attraction as a technique.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question. I mean, I think all things evolve as we evolve, right? So what I mean by that is I think it's the same practice it's always been. As I evolve my ability to manifest personally, then yes, the process evolves as I personally evolve. But it's the same process that, I mean, you can read like manifesting is spoken about in the Bible. And some people still use the Bible as like a text that teaches manifesting. So it's still relevant. So I don't know if it's really changed that much. I think it's just like, hey, step into the self who knows you have your desire and it's going to be yours. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to talk about it, but I don't really sense that it is evolving.
If this is new to someone, are there any readings or text or anything that would be the first place for them to start just to understand it a little bit more?
Yeah, well, again, the type of manifesting that I teach is it stems from Neville Goddard's teachings. So Neville Goddard is he's a mystic, but he has a really interesting way of teaching. He was alive in the 40s, I believe, and teaching in the 40s. And so it's a little more old school, but you can find his books online. You can download his books and just Google Neville Goddard. You'll find a lot of resources. And there's also a lot of people who are teaching Neville Goddard, which is also a good way to go. I'm one of those people. And there's a lot of us on YouTube who are teaching specifically his techniques.
I know you have a number of different courses as well, teaching people how to manifest specific things. Is there a difference between us manifesting our soulmate or manifesting our dream house or manifesting wealth, for example?
No. Who are you when you have your desire? Who are you as the person who already has a bank account filled with money? Who are you as someone who's wealthy? Who are you who is living in your dream house? Who are you with your soulmate? It's always the same question. Yeah, you're going to feel different, of course, with those different desires because you're focusing on something different, but the way to actually manifest it is always the same. Step into the person who has your desire. Who are you? How do you feel having your desire already?
I've heard you talk a bit about how to inspire a man, and this is sort of taking a little bit of a sidetrack for a sec, but I know it's all related, right? How to inspire a man and talking about self-concept as well. Would you be willing to share a little bit about that? Because it's so juicy.
Well, again, like what manifesting actually is the outer reality is going to reflect back to you how you see yourself. So that means if you see yourself as a beautiful person, the outer reality through other people and other experiences is going to confirm you're beautiful. So that usually can be people are going to say you're beautiful. So how self-concept is how we primarily think about ourselves in the context of our desire. So if it's a relationship, your self-concept is how do you imagine your person or any people think about you and see you? Do they see you as a goddess? Do they see you as a queen? Do they see you as an incredible person? Is that if you see yourself that way, if you really feel like you are a goddess, queen, magnificent person, beautiful inside and out, you're going to receive reflection from out there that says, yep, that's what you are.
What I love about that too is I think everyone can actually think of examples in their life when that has actually happened. So
right, exactly. That's what when I'm saying the outer reality is reflecting you back to yourself. It's like how you predominantly feel. Other people are going to see you that way too, which is why self-love work is so important. Or 80% of your work should be on what do you think you are? Who do you think you are? If you are really building up your self-concept to think and feel like you are incredible, you are just going to have people swarming to you.
are there any kind of final techniques, anything we haven't talked about yet that we can do or support us to really elevate that self-concept and really be able to project that out into the world?
Yeah, well, I would say first of all, just like take some time to explore who do you want to be? Not even what do you want to have, even though that's part of self-concept as well. It's like, how do you want people to see you? How do you want to see yourself? How do you want to feel? Like, write this stuff down. I want to feel beautiful. I want to feel special. Like, really get some concrete ways that you want to feel, and then recognize, okay, I need to be telling myself that I am that person. I am beautiful. I am special. And even if it feels awkward at first, keep going. You're changing your self-concept. You're changing the way you think about yourself. Keep going. You're reprogramming yourself. And that once you start to really reprogram yourself, you will get the evidence and you'll recognize, okay, this all works. This is how you do it. Okay, got it.
I just love this so much. And compared to, when I grew up and used to read, glossy magazines about, dating strategy, and we had the rules and it all just felt so complicated. You got to say this and act like this. And it just feels, this practice just feels so beautiful. And I've also seen many, many, many examples of women who have literally manifested their partner. So it's extremely, extremely powerful.
Yeah.
We've got some incredible free meditations and ebooks that you're giving away to our audience. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I think we're linking one of the ebooks, and maybe we'll link the Manifest a Specific Person ebook below. And it's just 3 concrete steps on how to really get started in that process of manifesting a specific person. So yeah, enjoy.
Amazing. If you'd like to connect with Shelly, and I know a lot of you are going to want to dive a lot deeper into this work because it's just so incredibly powerful, all of her socials are linked up, and you can also read a lot more about Shelly, and she has some incredible courses as well. I'd encourage you to check those out, as well as her daily meditation today and the ebooks. There's so much there for you to really, really kickstart your manifesting journey. So thank you so much, Shelly. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and to share this special time.
Thank you so much. So wonderful to be here with you.
And thanks everyone for joining us today. We'll look forward to catching you again tomorrow for the Love Breakthrough Virtual Retreat. See you then.